And 3, 2, 1. We're back. Everybody draw a triangle. That font is Bahos 93.
Nice. How do you Mr. Federally not like
Does what? I don't know if Mr. Federer doesn't. I know I don't. All right. Everybody draws a triangle, yeah? Okay. Label this triangle. Capital A, capital B, capital C. Put a theta right there. You guys are smart kids. Right now, you know how to do trigonometry with which sides of the triangle? Only the legs. You guys are smart kids. Is that a triangle?
Yes.
No. That only has legs, right? Now, you guys are also smart kids. You should be able to put together, if there are rules about the opposite and adjacent, the legs, and extending them, must not those rules also apply to the hypotenuse? Because if I double the length of this leg and this leg, what then must happen to the hypotenuse? It too must double. Yes? So if tangent exists for dealing with the legs, there must be something that exists for dealing with the hypotenuse. Indeed, there are. Right there, if you read that, you would find that the next two are the sine and the cosine. No. The sine and the cosine are the names of the ratios. Your calculator buttons are tiny. They do not have enough room to write cosine or tangent. So they have been shortened. So, for you guys, of course you do. The sine ratio on your calculator is the sin button. And it compares the opposite to the hypotenuse. Now remember, who decides what is opposite? You do, depending on what, Jake? Yes, opposite depends on theta. And I will remind you again in red, and I will put a star by it. Opposite means what? What does opposite mean in trig? Thank you, Jashin. It means across the triangle. I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to highlight across as well and put single stars. Everybody understands this concept, yes? All right. Now, you guys being the smart kids that you are, and you are indeed brilliant, what button must cosine be? COS, cos, right? Now, again, being the smart kids you are, if tan is opposite and adjacent, sine is opposite and hypotenuse, what must cos be? Adjacent and hypotenuse. What does the adjacency depend on? Excellent. It depends upon theta. Just like sine does. Now, I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to put 3 stars. Because this is something that kids screw up. Everybody knows what opposite means. Opposite means what? Across. What does adjacent mean? Beside. Which is no problem, right? Until you think about it for a second. Look at angle A. Opposite's easy. It's across. Adjacent means beside, right? Well, isn't that line and that line both beside theta? But one of those guys already has a name. Which one? The hypotenuse. He doesn't get two names. Okay? Adjacent is the leg. The leg beside theta. And then 3 more stars. Because kids screw that up. I'm doing it, Mr. Myers. I'm doing it. It's the one beside. So it's adjacent over hypotenuse. But the adjacent and the hypotenuse are the same. So the cosine of that is 1. You laugh, but that has been said in my math classes. Is everybody cool? All right. That sets up this following memory tool, which is a fake word. It's not a real word. It's a fake word. But it allows you to remember what all 3 of these things are. S, sine, opposite, hypotenuse. Cos. What's cos? Yes. And what does it equal? Adjacent and hypotenuse. And then, being the brilliant students that you are, tan, op, and adj. Now, everybody over on this far left of your page, draw a triangle. I lie. Don't draw the triangle I just drew. Draw it this way. Mr. Myers. What are you trying to do to us, you crazy man? Well, it's draw that and label it appropriately. A, B, C. What side is this? Name it. Name it. Hypotenuse is what it is. Like, I'm a person. What's my name? My name is Sine? Sine Myers? Yeah, that's what I'm going to name my kid.
Mr.
Sin.
Actually, my kid's name is Sinjin. But what is this side's name? AB is one name for it. That's what we would have called it in grade 6. Sarah? Little c. Lil C. What's this guy? Lil B. What's this guy? Lil A. Excellent. Now, I want you to tell me the sine of A. Then, what do you think I want you to tell me next? No. I want you to tell me the cos of B. Then what do you think I want you to tell me? No, sorry, cos of A. Then what do you think I want you to tell me?
The tan of A.
Tan of A. Now, have I given you numbers?
No.
So what must I use? Letters. Excellent. What is the sine of A? Opposite over hypotenuse. So, what's opposite of big A? Little a. What's the hypotenuse? Lil C. What's cos? Lil B. Over what? Lil C. What's tan? Little. Which is it? You're just saying both letters, Sam. You can't do that, right? A. B. Excellent. Now, we're going to do the thing that makes trig hard, apparently. Somehow, what we're about to do makes trig very difficult. I want you now to tell me the sine of B. The cos of B. And the tan of B. And you guys think that I'm lying. I've been teaching math longer than you've been alive. Kids tell me this is difficult. What is the sine of B?
B over C.
B over C. What is the cos of B? A over C. And what is the tan of B? B over A.
Now C.
Now, what do you notice about the sine of A and the cos of B?
They're the opposite.
Look closer. They're the same. What do you notice about the sine of B and the cos of A?
They're the same.
They're the same. Dun, dun, dun. G Willikers is about the only word you can use to describe this situation.
I'll go oh my stars.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
You be blank.
My Lanta. Okay, now, are you ready to try to do this in practice on your own? Now, let's remember a couple of things that Mr. Myers always says. One, if it works one way in math class, how does it work every other time you have to do it in math class? That way. So when we were doing tan questions, what did we do? We wrote out theta, opposite, and adjacent, right? But we're not necessarily doing tan questions, are we? So we need to look at our situation, and here is the difficult part. You have to decide on one of three choices. Is there a theta in this first question? What is it? 12. Lovely. If theta is 12, and our notes tell us that opposites and adjacents depend on theta, which corner will tell us where we are starting to look for our opposites and adjacents? The top or the right? Here is where we are as happy math students. Give you a little ball cap. No hats in class, you're right. Sorry. Take the hat off. So, to be fair, you guys, I should draw you the way that students really look in class, which will be, I know it's really ruining my material here. I know, it's bothering me. What you will really look like is there's your desk, there's your chair, and here's you sitting on the chair with your head down looking at your phone. So, but seriously, folks, if this is your theta, what other two sides of the triangle am I dealing with? I am dealing with an opposite, which is x, and hypotenuse, which is what? Now, the color's a hint. Which ratio are we using? Sine. Why? Because I have O and H. If I write it out, is it possible to do trig wrong? No. Because right there tells me I need O and H. So it must be sine theta equals O over H. Now, do I really need to write that step if I've been paying attention in math class? No, I can go straight to the numbers. Sine of what? 12 equals what? X over 25. What math do I do to get rid of divided by 25? Times 25. Now, can I tell you what buttons to push here? No. Why? Calculators are different. Whose job is it to know how their machine works? Yours. Did your teacher ask you to write down how your machine worked? He did. Boy, it must like be he's done this before. What is the answer? Don't say it out loud. I will take it to 1 decimal place, and I will take the first volunteered answer. Yunji, 5.2. If you did not get 5.2, you do not need to broadcast that to everyone, but you need to look at what we wrote down and find out where you made your error. Because if you understand what we wrote down and did not get 5.2, is it your math or your calculator skills that are hurting you? Your calculator skills. And who is the only person that can fix your calculator skills? You. Does anybody need to discuss how to get 5.2 on their machine right now? If you have, I think you're liars, so I'm going to tell you. This will work for everyone. Forward calculators, you will need to push 2, 5 times sine 12, and then you may need to close a bracket if your calculator puts in the first bracket. It might not. And then equals. If you've a backwards calculator, you must push 25, I lied, you're going to reverse the whole order. 12 sine times 25 equals. And that, if you're in degree mode, which you should be, because we spend a long time on Friday putting our calculators in degree mode, every one of you should be able to get 5.2. If you can't, whose job is it to sort it out? Yours. Are you going to take up any more class time on it? No. No problem, Emma. Now, next one. Do I have a theta? What is it? 19. What? Yes, Jack? Of course, Jack. With what other parts of the triangle can I work? I need the adjacent, which is 40, and the hypotenuse, which is x. What one of the three will I use? Brianna, I have an answer. No, Brianna, because of what I explained right here. The adjacent is the leg besides the theta. Again, the color is a hint. What are we using? Cos 19 equals A 40 over H, x. What math is that? Great. So I must do 40 divided by cos 19 to equal x. Use your machine to get the answer. What does x equal? It is 42.3. If you can't get that, once again, you will use today's practice time to ask me. Is everybody good? And finally, the last one we are going to practice, because we have used sine to find a side length. We have used cos to find a side length. Now we must use one of them to find, do I have a theta? No. But I do have what parts? I have an hypotenuse of 22 and an adjacent of 13. What uses? It is cos. Well done, Nick. cos of x equals what? 13 over 22. Am I looking for an angle or a side? An angle. So is it cos or shift cos? Shift cos. X equals. Tell me what it is. And it is 54 degrees. But my calculator says 53.77, Mr. Myers. We round degrees because they are not measured in decimals. They are measured in minutes and seconds, just like time. Is everybody good? All right, now listen to me and listen to me closely. Your outline says pages 95 and 101 because that's the textbook I stole them out of. You will notice on your work on the board, I have written the page numbers from your book. Okay? In your Outrageous Orchid book, you are doing 59 and 60. But those pages are titled 95 and 101. Does everybody understand? Look, I'm like a conductor. This is 3/4 time. 4/4 time looks like a butterfly. Or what? Okay. Huh? I don't know how to conduct. I don't know anything about music. I don't know. I just know 3/4 time is this.
That's the only one I know.
But I'm thinking about getting the Musician app on my phone and learning how to play some instruments. What? I'm sorry, Tasha, I can't hear you because other people are talking about things that aren't math in math class so loudly that I can't answer your question about math. It is the height of rudeness, and yet they do not pick up on the hint that I am dropping very, very strongly. They still haven't picked up on that hint. And they still haven't picked up on that hint. And now they have. Tasha, pardon me, I couldn't hear you. Of course I can, Tasha, as soon as I'm done explaining. You're going to do these 2 pages. Tomorrow when you come to class, we are going to do a real life math thing. You are going to be allowed to be released from the room tomorrow.
That's risky.
I know, but it's not going to be very risky because I am also going to send an email to the entire staff that says if during Block C they see some kids that look grade 10E or grade 11E about the school making any kind of disruptions, that they are to terminate with extreme prejudice. What does that mean in reality? That means they're to tell me that you were doing so. And if I were you, and one of my colleagues had to talk to me about your behavior outside of this room, I would consider just keeping walking. If you know what I am saying.
Don't come to class.
Okay?
I gotcha.
Okay. Riley. You are indeed going to start working now once I remind you that right there on your outline says what? Quiz. If tomorrow is real life work, when is the quiz?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, which is why I wrote it on the board. Any questions?
It's a quiz, right?
Again.
I said
Yes.
that it wasn't like
Yes. Go.